welcome to episode one of the Relentless Forge podcast. So, I'm starting this channel as helping others to overcome adversity. So, recently I'm almost at the 1 year mark of owning my own business and going through just dealing with other struggles and the things I've had to overcome just to make it to this point. So, purpose of this podcast is going to be just to go on, give inspirational, motivational things through other men's testimonies and their businesses to see just to help others overcome struggles of everyday adversity with owning your own business. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Nick Pugliese. I grew up in Southern California. Always kind of had a business-like mindset. My dad was self-employed. My stepdad was self-employed. My grandpa did some side jobs after his retirement, kind of self-employment thing too. So, kind of ran into the bloodline there. But going up through high school, worked for them, doing some jobs throughout school. Started trying my own business ventures when I was 16, 17, and graduated high school a year early. So I had the entire year being 17 of just kind of figuring things out. I ended up joining the Army, did 6 years in that before leaving. I was Chinook crew chief the entire time. Multiple tours to Afghanistan, one to Iraq, then El Paso for 3 years, then Fort Campbell, Kentucky for the last three with 160 special operations. So definitely was once in a lifetime experience that I'm glad that I got to do in my life. But I felt being in the army and having that guaranteed paycheck kind of took away that hunger for the having to go make money aspect of it. So I ended up working doing repossessions and nutrition while going to college full time for business. Originally was trying to get an associate's until a couple of my buddies talked me into coming up to North Dakota where I currently am. Coming into the oil field, so switching schools, the University of Phoenix where I ended up going, doing online classes and a associate's wasn't a thing, so I switched to a bachelor's. So came up here, started working as a mechanic in for a wireline company while still going to school full time. Ended up finishing my bachelor's in business administration with an entrepreneurship focus, and then started climbing the corporate ladder until ended up getting let go from the company last March, so 2025 March, and I decided I don't like corporations that are structured that way and being in a publicly traded company because at the end of the day, they just look at numbers and employee numbers and dollar numbers and make their decisions on personnel based on that when things go up and down with the markets. So decided it was kind of my sign from God to go start my own business because me and my buddy kept talking about going out doing our own thing. Like, oh, once we save enough money or once this happens, we'll go start it. It was just one of these days we're going to do it, and so it was kind of a sign of like, now we're going to do it. So with that, kind of going into the start of my adversity. So I found a business mentor, which if you're starting a business, 100% find a business mentor. Gives you so much help and insight. So did that. Drafted a business plan. Used ChatGPT for a lot of things on the business plan because it kind of formalized typing a lot of those filler things for you, and you kind of refine from there with it. With that being said, I had someone helping me with my business plan. She did it for me on ChatGPT and didn't review it. So I had a doctor's appointment and then a meeting after there to go over my business plan with some financial people. And I'm sitting there reviewing it. The parking lot of the doctor's office was like, oh, this is nothing along the lines of what we were supposed to be doing for our business plan. Like the plan was start doing service side and parts and accessories and move into dealership. And it had to go into like doing guided tours for ATVs, which not in the area for that. So kind of had one of those oh shit type of moments. Had to scramble, get everything straightened out, redo it all essentially, and then that meeting didn't go very well. But going in with the whole tariff thing at the time, back in mid 2025, and the threats with the tariffs, banks were really hesitant to lend out money. Insurance companies were really hesitant to write new policies. So it was just a struggle. Ended up not getting funding. I still never got funding for it. No investors, no bank loans. I got a small credit card to be able to put parts for jobs on. I do automotive repair. mainly right now. So I got a small credit card so I could put parts on that, and that way I wasn't having to come out of pocket or charge customers up front for parts. And then I think I've lost count. I was over 10 banks that rejected me. The best offer I got was for $1,300. I asked for 200,000. So yeah, that was pretty much you asked to buy a house and they give you a month's rent type of deal. So we ended up not being able to get a shop into town just with the prices of rent and the overhead. I wasn't going to be able to do it on my own. I'm still 100% running on my own, just asking friends for favors to try to help me out and get by. So I ended up taking my gym down in my garage at my house, put it in my buddy's storage shed at his place. My dirt bikes all ended up getting moved into his basement, and we just ended up spending the majority of the winter working out of the garage here. So before that, I was doing mostly mobile calls and working in the driveway since it was nice outside. But North Dakota winter, outside's not very fun when it's negative 30. So we ended up breaking it down, making it work, and just kind of overcoming bit by bit of adversity. And then in my pursuit of this, I talked to a couple of my buddies who are entrepreneurs and have pretty successful oil field companies, and were like, "You're not a trust fund baby. How'd you do this?" So I got their story and was like, "Okay, that was helpful and it really inspired me and pushed me on because every single day there's some form of adversity that you're going to run into, whether it's products not showing up on time to get meet your demands, whether it's parts for a customer's vehicle or if you're running an apparel line, not having inventory show up on time, can't make sales. There's just always a factor, finding insurance, finding funding, whatever it is, there's something that you're going to run into. And it gets really stressful when you're just coming off the ground. And they have, I forgot what the actual number of statistic was, but there's a high number of entrepreneurs, especially in the earlier years, that end up committing suicide from the stress. And like, completely can see why it is stressful. Combat's an easier thing for me to deal with than the stress of this everyday thing because if I don't make it, I can't get work and I can't pay my bills. Like there's no show up to work and you get a paycheck. You have to go find your work. You have to do your own marketing, do your advertising. And right now I'm doing all of it. My own accounting, my own marketing, my own sales, advertising, follow-up calls, turning the wrenches, doing the work itself. And it's really just overwhelming. There's a lot of long days. The whole you get to make your own schedule as an entrepreneur. Yeah, once you're successful and have people working for you, it might get easier. Depending on the company, this, that, the other. There's so many different ventures that people can go on these days. So right now it's now I'm do 12-hour days most days. There's days I don't make any profit and I work all day, whether it's building quotes or going and finding leads or picking up parts or ordering parts or dropping vehicles off, paying bills, dealing with banks, trying to get funding, dealing with the insurance company. It took me 6 months just to get my insurance policy. I worked with a broker because every time I'd call a company, they'd sit there and be like, okay, what do you do for business? And you go through all their questionnaire, like, oh, we don't do that, but this one does. So then they transfer you, then you'd have to go through the same process. And they'd be like, oh, we don't know that. This one does. After 4 or 5 times in an hour of your time on the phone, you're frustrated, mad, and hang up. So kind of went through that process. I also run a PTSD support group here in Williston, North Dakota, as well as owning Dark Horse Motorsports. I finally have gotten my apparel line up and going. I have some issues with the print on demand company I'm using, and shirts aren't getting printed correctly. So now I have to figure out if they can get it corrected or if I'm gonna have to find a different company to go with and redo the entire website for that. I've got the parts and accessories side for the automotive website up and running finally. So there's that. When I got out of the military, it took me a while to realize that I did have PTSD and had issues from it. And I never understood my PTSD. So my backstory with this is I brought everyone home from every deployment. Yeah, we had some pretty bad ones with some things that happened. I won't get into detail on that, but there's some memories in there that are dark and scars that will never leave. But like, I had so many friends and other people that know and stories that are just so much more trauma, so much worse experiences. Guys that lost almost their entire unit over there and were lucky to be coming home because their friend all didn't. So I kind of never understood why I was so affected from everything the way I was. It took me a while to get on a PTSD call with my buddy Chief. I actually did a podcast with him about a month or so ago, 2 months almost. He runs Combat Vet Vision podcast. You guys should check that out too. So once I figured out, or once I started getting into that, and trying to deal with my PTSD and understanding like the way it processes my emotions, and then it was working out pretty well, better than any therapy I ever did. So having that peer support system really works. And so ended up rediscovering my faith. Went through a launching pad event down in Texas a little over a month ago, and you start off by giving your testimony. And I didn't know what I was going to say. Like all I knew about the event was there's going to be a lot of learning, some eye-opening moments in your life, and a lot of lunges and a nice bath. So like didn't really know what to go in. I kind of took it as the same experience when I went to SEER school in the army. It was just like there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening. Keep an open mind. But so I didn't know what I was gonna say for my testimony. And the night before it happened, it felt like someone just smacked me in the chest, and all of a sudden it was like I have survivor's guilt. I never understood any of that until like that hit me. Like I didn't even know I had it. So essentially, my drive to help veterans and everything that were worse off than I was, and the whole PTSD feeling was I felt bad for being better than others because I felt I didn't deserve it from just different things in my own past and my childhood. So I was able to actually get up there, admit that to about 100 strangers, which was a really hard thing to do. So once I admitted that and kind of just was able to let it go, that I had that guilt, it really just ignited the fire. And that's kind of what drove me to want to do this podcast. Because now I wasn't doing it because I was felt guilty for being better than them. I want to do it because I genuinely want to help people. I've always wanted to help people. That's why a lot of veterans become entrepreneurs and go into different service industries because they like being able to help others. Uh, and it's like a little bit of a gratification feeling, like self gratification, because you feel good helping others. It's a good feeling, but there's just a lot more genuine care to it than there was before. Like I felt obligated and I couldn't understand why. I just felt like it was something I always had to do. And so now like getting that clarity really just kind of set the fire to everything. So I got that group going, started doing more outreach with the group to bring more members into it, bring more guys there. It's not a mandatory thing. It's we're in person and on Zoom, so they just kind of jump on and can share whether it's struggles they're dealing with their PTSD or trauma, struggles at home, work. They had a great week. We love hearing when we guys share that too. So it's just a kind of place where everyone's got the same camaraderie that we had while we were in the service to be able to just let out, hang out, because you have that mentality of like this guy's been there too, so he knows. Veterans just kind of naturally bond that way, I think. So that's kind of where my drive's coming from now. If you asked me 3 months ago, I'd say I want my name to be one of the biggest ones when it comes to building customized trucks and performance vehicles. Uh, Now I just want to get my business successful so I can pour everything I have back into helping others in the community and being able to do all of these different support things that I have in mind. So it's pretty much where I'm at with it. My whole idea to this is to just bring other entrepreneurs on, be able to get their story, probably get a few veterans that have some good testimony with some things they've overcome as well, and just really be that motivational source for more people. So this one's going to be a little bit shorter than most because it's just me up here talking about myself. We're literally starting this off with a laptop. We don't have any fancy mics, cameras. All that'll be in the future. I mean, not overly worried about getting fancy production with the cameras. Most people, at least for me, I mean, YouTube listening to podcasts. My phone's probably in my pocket or sitting somewhere, and I got my headphones in. So the plan is broadcast here in Spotify. So whichever platform, pretty much everyone has those two. I'm not going to get fancy into these podcast apps or any of that at this point. I just want to be able to bring other people that have overcome adversity when they're mainly in their business focus. We'll probably get into some fitness and spiritual stuff as well, just because between finances, fitness, health, whether mental, physical, and spiritual are kind of like the four keys of foundation with everything. Because a lot of guys have overcome relationship struggles because when you're pouring your heart and soul into mailing the business, not everyone's going to see your vision. And that's where it gets really lonely. Finding people that are like minded helps, but at the same time, when you're doing this, it's your vision, it's your dream. The quieter you are about it, the less people are going to understand it. So you want to be vocal and share, but then people are gonna be like, you're crazy, just go work a normal job. There's just so many things, so much negativity into it. Because they're like, why did you do that? Why don't you just go work a job? You'd have a normal paycheck. Yeah, then no one would be able to just be like, hey, we're leaving Friday to go race this weekend. I'd have to worry about paid time off, what's going on with the company while I'm not there. Like I used to have to do all this when I was managing fleet and oil field. So end up wasn't always at work, but my phone was going off 24/7 every day. Like I never didn't have to have my phone on me essentially. So it was still stressful when I was away from work because of work. So you do gain freedom with it, but at the same time, when I say, yeah, we're going racing this weekend, I'm not gonna be around Thursday, Friday. The next week when the bank account's real thin and I'm starting to stress, it's on me. Like that was my decision. So you do have the freedom, but you also have the consequence of what you do. At least in these younger times of starting out with the company, I'm sure once it grows and we talk to some other guys in the future when we get them on the show, that yeah, as it grows, you get a lot more freedom. You have a lot more responsibility, but at the same time, you have a lot more headache with it too. So there's different stress factors to consider. But pretty much the point of this whole thing is to just help others that are struggling with these things, kind of just get some motivation, insight, and hear other success stories of if these guys can overcome the adversity, you can too, because you can overcome it. Everyone can get through and do this and get the freedom that they're desiring to chase that dream. You don't have to be a slave to a corporate 9 to 5 job. You don't have to be stuck trying to do that. If you have a vision and a dream and want to be an entrepreneur and chase it, then you can absolutely do it, but you're going to face adversity. So we're just trying to get this out there, be able to share some stories to just help others to have that same insight when I went and talked to my friends that had been successful. And like, hey, how'd you do this? Because I don't know how I'm going to make it a full year. And I'm about 3 weeks away from hitting that year mark. And it got slow this winter, but we pushed through. We made it. Pretty confident we'll make it to that year point. So hope y'all keep coming in, tuned in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment what I can improve on, different ideas you guys might have for future episodes. If you have a story, any of that, I'd love to hear it. So thanks for watching. See y'all next time.